Today is edition of Back Roads of Illinois. We were bringing you lasted for farming sources and information sponsored by AgriGold. I am Cesar Delgado. I am your host, Cesar Delgado. We were talking about the farmers who those need for crisis. We were glad to talk about it with Terry Johnston from Farm Rescue. Welcome to the show on Back Roads of Illinois, and we'll have a conversation that what's new with Illinois Community College with Willard Mott. He is my former college ag professor at our VCC. I am looking forward with him. We were talking about the cattle markets with Scott Kooima from Kooima Kooima Evielk Trading. Otherwise, this is your rural news sponsored by AgriGold. The weather has reported that the snow is coming in the Midwest, like in Illinois, Indiana, Ohio, for this week. Next week will be more likely to have cold weather conditions in the Midwest. The 45Z from Washington. Some people have some concerns about this 45Z from this administration. It has been confusion about it. Some Republicans disagree with the tax credit from the IRS for farmers. Finally, the ag labor is down for a few years. Congress wants to do about that with ag labor and the specialty crops. This is your rural news sponsored by AgriGold. This is Piazza for Farm Rescue, helping out with farmers when need.
Its 20th anniversary, some of our greatest supporters have blessed us by offering up to $500,000 to match donations made to Farm Rescue for Giving Hearts Day. Giving is open now through February 13th, and we invite you to make these blessings count with a gift to Farm Rescue today at givingheartsday.org.
We were talking about the farmers who those need for crisis. We were glad to talk about it with Terry Johnston from Farm Rescue. Welcome to the show on Back Roads of Illinois.
Hey, thank you for having me, Caesar. I appreciate it.
Let's discuss about your organization. Terry, can you tell us about your experience and education from your organization?
Yeah, well, I sure can, Caesar. I'll start by telling you a little bit about the history of Farm Rescue. So, Farm Rescue was founded in 2005 by Bill Gross. He is a farm boy from North Dakota and always had a passion for wanting to be able to help family farmers and ranchers. And so he started the organization back in 2005, and we helped our first family in the spring of 2006. And so we are now celebrating this year is our 20th anniversary. And since that first family, we are now almost at 1,200 families that we have assisted in the 20 years. So that is very exciting. As I mentioned, we began in North Dakota, but we're now in 9 states. So we're serving North Dakota, South Dakota, Minnesota, Montana, Iowa, Nebraska, Kansas, Illinois, and Wisconsin. So we just added Wisconsin this past year. So this is our first year in assisting families there. I came to Farm Rescue in March of 2023. So I've been almost 2 years here, and I grew up in Iowa, Southwest Iowa to be specific, on a grain and livestock farm, and I went off to college, got an ag business degree, and I've been in agriculture ever since. And my younger brother actually decided to go back to the farm. So my younger brother is farming our family farming operation in Southwest Iowa. So that's I was so pleased to be able to join Farm Rescue, and I've enjoyed it so much. It's been an amazing journey. It's been awesome to get to know our volunteers, meet the families that we've been able to assist, and of course, get to know my farm rescue teammates better.
What were your best one to assist with farmers?
Oh, that's a tough one.
Mm.
We've we've probably served around 1,200, or I'm sorry, around 200 families since I came on board. It averages somewhere around 100 families a year or so. Um, and you know, it's so amazing to watch our volunteers interact with the families and not only help them get with their crop, you know, getting the crop in or out, or helping with their livestock, but just to see how they interact. Of course, when we are helping a family, Caesar, these folks are going through a terrible time, possibly some of the darkest hours of their life, and so to be able to interact with the families and volunteers and see how we make and you know we're able to impact and help those folks through a bad time is amazing. I'm not sure I could pick out one particular family, but it certainly is awesome to be able to help these folks in the time of need for sure.
What do we need to by helping to the organization in Kansas, North Dakota, Iowa, Illinois, Missouri?
Well, that's a great question, and for those listening, I'll share with that. We're technically not in Missouri yet, as far as one of the 9 states that we serve, but what folks can do, number one, is help us spread the word. So, the folks that are listening to this podcast, if you can follow us on social media, Facebook is one of the major ones we're on. Of course, we have a lot of different videos about the families that we've served and our volunteers and some of our sponsors that help pay for all the assistance. Um, it's great if folks could share that. So follow us on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Instagram, and share those stories about the families that we've assisted and the volunteers that help. And we just want to get the word out. We don't want to not help somebody because they're not aware of farm rescue and how we can do that. So it's very important that folks help us spread the word. Um, of course, a lot of folks that don't know about us or maybe are a little shy to ask, we would always appreciate people referring families to us. So if somebody in the community is aware of a family that might need assistance, please just reach out to us. They can go to farmrescue.org. There's a simple process there to contact Farm Rescue and just let us know about that family. We'll reach out to them and see if we can help and if they would like us to help. And that would be very helpful. Of course, we can always use qualified volunteers if there's folks out there that are interested in helping, maybe with harvest or planting or feeding livestock, something like that. They can go again to our website and sign up as a volunteer, and we would always appreciate that. And then, of course, donate. Certainly, it's expensive to maintain and operate this machinery that we have, and then also feeding and housing volunteers. So, if folks want to make a donation, that is always appreciated. Again, they can do that on our website, farmrescue.org. In fact, you and I have communicated back and forth about this, Caesar, but we're actually in a special fundraising time between now and February 13th. There's a fundraiser going on called Giving Hearts Day. And so they can either, folks can go to our website or go to the Giving Hearts Day website and donate in Farm Rescue's name. In fact, we have $500,000 in matching funds if we are able to raise that. So all folks can almost double their gift by giving between now and February 13th. So that's just a few of the ways that people can help us, you know, to to further the mission and help more families.
What year did you start with farm rescue in my home state of Illinois?
So we started in Illinois in 2023. So Illinois is a relatively new state for us as well. And we appreciate you helping us get the word out too in Illinois. We would love to help more families each year in Illinois. So we appreciate your help, Cesar, in getting the word out with back roads.
Of course. Do you have any final thoughts on this fall season?
Well, as I mentioned earlier, we're so grateful to have been able to help families that needed us. It's a scary thing to have a crop in the field and not feel like getting it out or not capable of getting it out because somebody is hurt or injured or they're taking care of a sick loved one, or their equipment has been damaged in some way due to to bad weather or whatever. So we're very grateful that we were able to help those 30 some families, and we are busy spending this winter getting our equipment and everything organized, getting the planters ready, and we're really looking forward to spring. Obviously, we don't wish for more families to help, but we know that that's just the way it is. Farming is a tough business, and people get sick or injured. We often deal with tornadoes, in the spring, and that can wreak havoc on a farming operation if their equipment is torn up and so forth. So we are busily getting ready to help farm families that need it during this coming planting season. And can't say it enough. Thank yous to you, Cesar, for helping us get the word out and helping us tell our story and helping more families as we go along here.
Thanks for coming. I enjoyed our conversation. We could do that again. Keep up the good work in the Midwest for farmers.
Yes, absolutely. It's our pleasure. It's what we enjoy doing. It's our mission. And we'll look forward to talking to you another time, Cesar.
Thanks, Terry. I enjoyed our conversation for today.
I did
This
too.
is
Thank you.
Terry Johnston from Farm Rescue on back roads of Illinois. Thanks to Terry Johnston from Farm Rescue. Now, we are going to have a conversation about the livestock markets for today from Kooima Kooima Evielk Trading with Scott Verilek. Welcome to the show on today.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me. Glad to be here and love talking about the cattle markets for sure.
Let's discuss about the cattle expansion since 1952. What happened with that? Could you tell us about it?
Yeah, that's a long road there when you have all the way back to 1952, and it's fun to look back at the history of this market and just kind of put it into perspective with why we're where we're at now, and in recent, you hear the numbers, we're as low as we've been since on cattle and calves since 1951. So quite a lot has changed since then. And some of the reasons I'll point out, some of them are my opinions, some are just kind of facts. But when you narrow it up, from 2000 to now, we've been on a steady decline, and we have the tightest numbers since 1951. And what are some of the reasons that we're there? And so what I can kind of come up with is, for one, we're doing more with less. We can put a lot more weight on carcasses than we could back then. We've got better genetics. We've got better technology. We know how to feed them better. So we've become better at what we do. That's one of the main reasons that we have less numbers, because we can keep a production level similar to last year with less numbers because we can put more weight on. And generally, there can be some challenges right now where we have the luxury of cheap feed and the ability to do it. But some of the other reasons would be, if you start from the packing sector, you've got a heavy corporate with a few packers in charge. And now the feedlot sector has also become more corporate, larger corporate yards. And the cow-calf man is kind of the last individual standing uh, for the most part in this cattle industry that we have. And it's been hard for them to demand more profit, saying, hey, this is hard. It's a lot of work raising calves. And um, so it's kind of spurred some of that liquidation. If you look, why are we not expanding the herd now? Prices are good. Well, it's a lot of expense with high interest to try to buy into some heifers. You're looking at the cost of real estate, the cost of finding labor, all of those challenges just kind of have brought us to where we are. And we've got a smaller cow herd, and it's tough to try to get it to expand just because it takes all of that I just listed, and we don't have that ability yet. So we need more than just one good year to try to say, hey, I want to keep investing a lot of money in this. So getting more money down to the cow calf man is very important to try to keep a sustainable business all the way through. So we don't just, shift it all towards vertically integrated. And that's what's been tough. It's hard to vertically integrate the cow calf sector because you need so much real estate and so much manpower that it's the one sector of the business that hasn't got that done yet. So with a windy answer, that's kind of my take. The reason we've gotten to where we are here lately is just because, these tighter numbers and not enough money was making it down to the cow calf man. And this is their couple years, having a great couple years, and it's been a long time coming.
Why does the cattle herd is shrinking further today than a few years?
I think today, when I look at it, just the sheer cost of trying to get in now. If you're looking to rebuild a cow herd, and I'm one of those dummies that's trying it, so I kind of feel like I have the some of the cost. You've got a heifer calf that's going to cost $2,150. Is some that I had just bought. Some are $2,300. So I got to put that kind of investment up front for each one. I've got a 7 to 8% interest kind of a note. You've got to find some labor to do it. You got to get the feed, and it's breeding them this spring. It's going to take a couple of years before I get that calf on the ground, get it raised up, and get it marketed. Before any money comes back to me, it's going to be a couple of years. And I'm looking at $1,000 cost, per year, is what I'm kind of being told it's going to be close to. That's my cowboy math coming in there. So $4,500, that's a lot of money to have tied up before you get a calf to sell to try to pay some back. So that's been the tough part of it.
What is the weather in Northern Plains with transportation for right now?
Yeah, the weather has finally tried to give us a little taste of winter, and it's been such open weather lately. I mean, the gains on these cattle has been tremendous. The feeding conditions have been great. Intakes are up, so we have some of these yearlings gaining 5 pounds a day, and they're going to be coming to market ahead of schedule, and we can pull them ahead with these prices as good as they are. So we've just dipped to some cold temperatures here. Still brown, for the most part. I don't think anybody's really had to worry about moving a lot of snow or trying to fight that. We were more waiting for the ground just to freeze, just so we could have that Canadian concrete and have some better conditions there. And then that has happened, but we haven't had any major weather storms trying to say, hey, taking some gains away. So even with that said, saying we've got good weather conditions and big weights, the cash has stayed where it is. It hasn't really, fought that at all. So if we'd get a weather storm, that's not priced into the market. We're getting pretty used to this, this weather so far that we've had. finally getting a little bit of cold in the middle of January. But as you start to look at the calendar and say, wow, I can already see the end of January and I still haven't put a scoop shovel in my hand or, made a pile of snow. I think we're feeling pretty confident that we're doing okay, and the weather has been as much of a factor here.
What is the temperature in I-29 to Iowa and South Dakota? Kansas City?
Yeah, we had finally gotten down to where we were below zero here for a while. So I think it was -11, -13, kind of in that range this morning. I know my family's having some calves right now, so it's kind of finally getting, to where we are at least a little challenged. We're going to have to bring some stuff inside for some of those baby calves, but it's been, just a cold snap. We're going to warm up a little bit, cool back down, but uh, I don't think it's a surprise right here. There's been some moisture that's been kind of talked about here and there across Kansas, but I don't know that any of it's really amounted to the staying power that some of these winter storms can have. So just finally seeing some cold, I guess will turn into February and see if the moisture picks up. I'd almost rather have some of the moisture now because it's coming in snow form. You get to the end of February into March, and then that's usually the mix of wet and snow. And you can make some animals cold and have it snow, and they're going to perform okay. But when they're wet and cold, that's a whole new level of cold. So we can make it through this time of year with a little bit of, lack of moisture. But if we start to see it in the spring, that can be a little bit of a doozy to handle.
Do you have any final thoughts on this cattle markets with the corn markets?
That's a good question because the corn really hasn't been anything that producers have been really paying a lot of attention to. It's just been such a sideways market, and I can buy the feed as I need it. Not really worried about it. And now it's, January grain report kind of challenges the ending stock number. They lowered the yields. Corn had already been a little bit on the run just for some pretty decent demand that it's had around it. And now we're suddenly seeing we're getting close to $5 on some of these board contracts, and you've been kind of slam dunking saying I'm going to have a cheap cost of gain. So that could be in a little bit of jeopardy. It has to kind of wake us up a little bit. The feeder cattle market has not responded, too negatively yet. It may have just stopped going up for a minute here. Would be the only thing I see. And final thoughts on the cattle. I think that we're in pretty good shape. It feels good, and it always does when you're a nice, steady, uptrending market. But we've got the funds long, the cash is moving high, or it's uptrending, and none of us know where the top is. There can be a lot of analysts that'll tell you where they think the top is. Picking a top just really doesn't work. One guy might hit it, but most of us are going to miss it. So it's just be careful out there because the trade is volatile. There's a lot of moving. We don't know where the high is, so you have to kind of decide what risk you can take. How many dollars you have tied up, and what kind of break could you afford to take, or what can you spend for some coverage? Trying to have some goals. I mean, your planning needs to be happening. It or has happened already because we know that some kind of black swan can come in and jerk the rug, and that's what we're all keeping our ears open for because we feel like with our fundamentals right now, we're okay. We can stay at some of these high prices and maybe even go higher. We just don't want that outside unforeseen factor to come in and happen. So that's why we got to be careful and keeping our head on a swivel.
Thanks, Scott. We're glad you're here for today. This
Well, thanks
is
for having me.
Scott Verilek from Kooima Kooima Evielk, trading one back roads of Illinois. We were joining with Willard Mott from Illinois Community College with the Agricultural Department. He is the coordinator for the Agricultural Department at Illinois Community College. Hi, Willard. How are you today? Welcome to the show.
Thank you, Cesar. I'm happy to be here. Yeah, thank you very much.
Let's discuss about the update on agriculture building. Could you tell us about that? We're in the area.
Okay. Yes, Caesar, absolutely happy to share the details with you. We are in the process of constructing a new agriculture building, and it's approximately 10,000 square feet. It'll include classrooms and lab space, an innovation lab, student conference center, bathrooms, and faculty office space. So we're very excited about it. It's going to be state of the art. It'll have some of the newest, latest, greatest technology in it. It'll be a place for students to come together, to collaborate, to investigate those questions, and really be a modern facility that we will all be very proud of.
When it will be up to running?
You know, Caesar, that's a great question. We are currently on track to start construction very soon. I don't necessarily want to state a time frame, but we're very optimistic that we should get started within I would say within the next year. And so, as you know, I mean, it takes time to plan things. There's always some hurdles to get through. But we are on track to get things moving very soon, and we're excited about it.
What's new with the agricultural department for this year at Illinois Community College?
There's a lot of things going on. The agriculture building that we're looking at and planning to construct is definitely our biggest project and most exciting thing that we have going on campus. But other things, we have our student farm, and so we have a 150-acre farm here on campus. And out of that 150 acres, our students are farming 26 acres of it. They harvested their first crop this past fall, and we had corn and soybeans. We partnered with a variety of people, including Channel Seed and the University of Illinois Extension. Students were able to plant the crop. They did the tillage and they did the harvesting. And now that it's winter time, it's time to do some bookkeeping. So they'll be doing some of the financial statements and determining their profitability. So that's certainly something that's been very exciting on campus. We also just continue to grow and develop our programs. So everything from our ag transfer program to our certificates and degrees, and yeah, just continuing to recruit students. So very exciting time on campus, and just providing all the opportunities that we can for our students. I took a group of students out to Idaho this past spring in April. We went to the NACDA Student Judging Conference. That's the North American Colleges and Teachers of Agriculture Student Judging Conference. And we had students compete in a variety of things, including crop science, so crop judging. They did soil judging. They also competed in livestock management and agricultural business management, and they also did the Quiz Bowl. So getting students involved in NACDA, also PAS. We had a group of students that went to the fall PAS conference, and just in our ag club here locally on campus. So as far as student organizations, those are some very exciting things that we have going on. And we just continue to grow and develop in a variety of ways to train students for future jobs and give them the leadership skills. All right. Well, I believe you asked about the yield on the corn and
What is the
soybeans.
yield for this fall on corn and beans?
Okay, yeah, and that's what I actually had just mentioned was I don't have any yield numbers to share with you. We did calculate the yields, but I don't have them in front of me, and I don't remember specifically. We did a lot of different trials, and so we did 6 rows of different types of corn and different soybean varieties. So without those numbers in front of me, I don't really want to just throw a number out there. So, but like I said, the yields were very good. And when you do trials and research, of course, you always get a few low numbers, you get some high numbers, and quite a few in between. So we were pleased with the yields, and it was a great learning experience.
Finally, could you give us your response from the fall semester?
Student response was very good. I think the students enjoyed the things that we did on campus. So a few highlights. We had our fall field day in September, where we had some speakers from the University of Illinois and from local agribusinesses that presented a variety of topics to our students. And the feedback from that experience was very, very good. Students were also able to go on some field trips this semester. I took a group of students to Corteva agri-science in Utica. And we also did just some on-campus things. We did some soil testing. We did a variety of labs on crop production. We were able to get out in the field and get our hands dirty and check things out. So overall, the student experience in the classroom was great. Our ag club was active. They attended the PAS conference. They also went bowling and had a pizza party. And so overall, students really, I think, enjoyed the spring or the fall semester. I have 4 students that are out doing internships this semester during the spring. And so overall, I think the student response was great. We had our Ag Open House. We had a lot of prospects or future IVCC Ag students on campus. And that's always enjoyable to meet those folks and get them excited about coming to IVCC and studying agriculture. So overall, I think the response from the fall semester was very good, and we're excited to be here for the spring and looking forward to where the spring semester goes.
Thanks, Mr. Mott. I am glad that you are here for today with us.
Well, thank you, Cesar. I really appreciate the invitation, and keep up the good work. I'm very proud of you and everything you've accomplished, and I'm sitting here admiring your Backroads of Illinois logo that you have on the screen. I really like that design. It looks great. And so thank you for having me. I look forward to hearing and seeing this played on your channel. So thank you, Cesar.
Thanks. This is Willard Mott. He is the coordinator for the agricultural department at Illinois Community College on Back Roads of Illinois. Thanks for listening on Back Roads of Illinois. You can listen to this show on YouTube and wherever you get your podcast. This been Back Roads of Illinois. I am Cesar Delgado. You have a great day.